All right, here's a question for you guys. We're doing Dry July, so it's just got me thinking about beers 24/7. So I'm thinking, what's the best beers to have? I'll give you my list, and you can tell me where and if you differ. Top beer, number one best beer that you can have as a human being, airport beers. Beers at the airport. I'll tell you why. Excitement. When you're at the airport, even if you're going home from a holiday, it still feels like Christmas Eve. It's like exciting. You're there and you fucking look around. Everyone's got their suitcases and shit. A little bit of nerves, a little bit of excitement. Beers on ice. Downside, $18 for a fucking pint of Carlton.
Yeah.
Airport beers number one. Agreed?
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Yeah.
Number two beers. Knockoff beers after work.
Yeah, that was going to be
if you're doing hard labor.
Yeah, especially hard labor. But I feel like if you're in a grueling office job and you go there with all your mates in suits and like you unbutton the top few buttons, take the blazer off, loosen the tie, couple fucking stupids, that's the second best beer you can have. Third beer is day beers.
I knew it. Yeah.
I can remember the best beer I've ever had in my life.
Tell me.
Talk to us.
This was back in my labouring days, and it was a hot Australian summer's day, probably 31, 32 degrees.
Perfect.
And I was just a shit kicker on the job site. So I was just shoveling shit, fucking sweeping floors, digging holes. I reckon I just would dig holes all day, and then they'd just tell me to refill the holes because I was just doing nothing. I may as well not even been there. And I was just working all day, and I was fucking hating my life. Like, considering quitting the job, didn't want to be there, sweating bullets. Anyway, gets to about 3:20 after I've dug my fucking 55th hole for the day and refilled it.
Yep.
And the boss man comes up to me and goes, "Oi, Benny, probably start time to pack up now. Here you go, have a beer." And he handed me a bolter, and I held it, and it was like the sun was glistening down on it, and there was still that condensation on it. And my hand was like frozen, stuck to it because it was so cold. And I looked at him, and all the resentment and hate that I had towards him that I'd built up over the 8-hour shift just disappeared. And I said, "I'll work for you for the rest of my life." And then after I finished that beer, I quit my job and left. But that was the best beer I'd ever had in my life.
Damn.